Hi, my name's Mike and I make videos of my allotment and the occasional woodworking project. We've still got illness within the family and most of my time is spent sort of as a carer as the illness is one of mobility. So I'm lifting, moving and doing those kind of operations, which limits my attending to the allotment. To help with this, I've had to make a list so that no time is wasted when I go on the plot, and I can organise work that can be done at home in lieu, and then take that to the allotment. I mean, even on Monday, when sitting in the car park of the hospital, I wrote out a list of items that had to be done. And this is it, sketched onto a piece of scrapped cardboard while I sat in the car. Alec, put up the film screen please. Thank you. This is a list of prioritised items which I listed out onto the blackboard, which are then sorted out into priority, split into those that can be done at home and those on the plot. And there's roughly about 14, 7 on the plot and 7 which I can do at home. As all trips onto allotment, the very first thing I do is I go for a walk round and I just inspect to see what changes have happened since I last visited, what vegetables are ready for picking or harvesting. French beans are looking good, but there's no fruits on them as yet, but they'll come. And there's the onions. Oh, what's that? Oh, we've got to escape. Sort that out, Michael. That's it. Gone. And potatoes are doing well. I'm hoping for a good crop there. Move on to the strawberries, which we've already started harvesting, and we'll harvest some more today. Beans over there, they should be ready. Quickly pass over the runner bean bed and let's have a look at the brassica. Oh, we've got some kale that's almost ready for picking. I'll pick some of that today. Move on down there to the second brassica bed, which we'll be going to, and on the first brassica bed we've got some cauliflower showing, and that's helpful. One of the biggest guides if the vegetables are ready, is to look at the crop damage by the beasties, because they know exactly when the produce is ready. As we can see here, it's either rats, mice, I don't think it's birds, but that's a possibility. So the broad beans are definitely ready for picking and harvesting, and that's what we'll get on with first. But I must have a look inside the pods just to make sure myself that they are ready for harvesting. And yes, they are. So let's get on with it. I just wonder, with this damage that the beasties have done, whether if I had sprayed them with FNJ, whether the smell of the FNJ would have altered whether the effect on the animals, but who knows. Beans are harvested and now go on to the strawberries. I've had a bit of a problem with the strawberries because of the weather, because of the incessant rain and the heat. I mean, when it rained it was still hot. It was almost unbearable and you couldn't pick them, and a lot of the strawberries are now overripe, and I'm just, rather than taking them home, I'm putting them out for the birds or the rats or mice, whoever wants them. Well, it's not a bad harvest. I did actually pick some kale as well. There's 2 pounds of broad beans and a punnet of strawberries and 1 serving of kale, which I will enjoy. Harvest is over and they are then taken and put into the back of the car, and at the same time I took the coir block and the soil blocker so I could make soil blocks at home. If you recall, the sweed I sowed in the ground had been attacked by flea beetle, and the non-treated beetroot had lost plants which the treated ones had not. So is there a link, and could that link be FNJ? Well, only one way to find out: split the sweed and treat them with FNJ. Before I can do that, I've got to thin out the existing plants. Thinned out and divided into 2 sections, and the divided plants were picked out, one set east of the Brussels and the other on the west. As a further test, I'm asking myself, is the more stickier F&J mix work the same or worse or better than the normal F&J? I produced a normal mix in the allocated watering can, given it a good stir, and then applied as the normal manner to 50% of the sown sweed and the treated beetroot. The east side of bed 3 was then covered up and then uncovered on the west side. A fresh mix of F&J was made using the thick stuff, and when the sweed seedlings were planted out, the stickier F&J was applied, and to use up all this can of fertiliser, I then also applied it to the Brussels sprouts. To action this test of the stickier F&J and diluting it by an equal part of water was carried out earlier at home. The task I should have done earlier was to pot on my seed sown onions, but what I required were some square pots of a larger size. I thought these would be easily purchased from the local garden centres, but wrong. I then found a company on the internet called Plantagogo, who provided what I wanted and gave a good service, which included speedy delivery. The onions were potted on and given a good drink as appreciation of their patience. To make measurement easier and I suppose more accurate, I applied a sticky label to the side of the jar. As stated earlier, the stickier F&J had to be split and half of it, the batch, diluted. But first I had to strain it. Having strained it, I could then pour it into a jar and attach the sticky label, making a mark at the level of the juice, measuring from this mark to the inside bottom of the jar, dividing the distance in half, pouring into a new jar and then adding water to the first mark and shaking well. We now have two mixes, one of sticky F&J and the other a diluted mix. This now concludes a major part of the to-do list. Most of the items to do at home though are still outstanding.
Okay, well there we are for this week. It's not been easy making the videos. Well, making the videos at home, the editing and that is easy. Well, I've got plenty of time for that, but I am restricted out on the plot. And it makes me think, is it going to be possible to keep continuing recording allotment progress while I've got this problem at home? Well, we'll see. Okay, I've just got one thing to do. I've got to ask Alec to get rid of the screen. Alec, get rid of the screen please. Thank you. And that leaves me just to say, I hope you liked the video. If you did, a thumbs up would be appreciated. Please do comment. I am interested in your comments. And if you've not already done so, please subscribe. And to receive further notification of any uploads I make, then press that bell. It just leaves me just to say, take care, look after yourself, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.